Plato, one of the most influential philosophers of all time, lived over 2,000 years ago, yet his ideas still resonate today. But what would he say about your life choices? Would he approve of how you're living? Let's take a look at what Plato's teachings could reveal about the decisions you make in your daily life. Plato believed that ignorance, lack of knowledge or understanding is at the heart of all evil and wrongdoing. According to him, when people don't understand what is truly good or true, they make choices that can lead to harm or dissatisfaction, both for themselves and others. Plato thought that the only way to find real happiness and live a meaningful life is by seeking knowledge and wisdom. Number 1. Are you seeking knowledge and truth? For Plato, philosophy, the love of wisdom, was the key to achieving this deeper understanding. He didn't believe that happiness comes from material wealth, fame, or pleasure, but from gaining knowledge about the world, understanding your own mind, and figuring out what truly matters. In his view, philosophy was not just about academic study, but about asking big questions and trying to figure out the truth of life. Plato thought that many people live their lives on autopilot, just accepting things as they are without questioning them. They might follow traditions, listen to popular opinions, or simply accept things without digging deeper. Plato would argue that this is dangerous because it keeps you in ignorance, and ignorance for him is the root of bad choices, wrong actions, and even unhappiness. If you're someone who actively seeks to understand the world, Plato would see this as a positive step. He would say you're on the right track because you're not just accepting things at face value or relying on unexamined beliefs. Instead, you're striving to understand life and your place in it. Imagine that your life is like a chariot being driven by a charioteer who represents reason or your ability to think logically and make wise choices. The charioteer is holding the reins and guiding the chariot forward. However, there are two horses pulling the chariot, each representing a different part of your personality and desires. Number 2. Are you mastering your desires? The first horse represents your spirit. This horse is about your ambition, your drive for success, honor, and the desire for recognition. This part of you pushes you to achieve goals, to be respected, and to prove your worth. While this can be a powerful motivator, Plato suggests that if this spirit is not controlled, it can lead to excessive ambition, arrogance, or a constant craving for power and status. The second horse represents your appetite, which includes your desires for basic physical pleasures such as food, sex, comfort, and material possessions. These desires are often more immediate and impulsive, driving you toward instant gratification. Plato sees this as a natural part of being human, but he warns that if these appetites are left unchecked, they can lead to overindulgence, addiction, and a focus on superficial pleasures rather than what truly brings lasting fulfillment. For Plato, a well-lived life is one where the charioteer, who represents your reason or rational mind, controls both horses. The charioteer must guide the spirited horse, which might try to pull the chariot toward a desire for glory or power, and also control the appetitive horse, which might drag you toward overeating, drinking, or chasing fleeting pleasures. Without this balance, the chariot can easily go off track, and the person will end up living a life driven by unchecked desires. One of Plato's most famous methods for seeking truth was the Socratic method, which involved asking deep, probing questions to challenge people's assumptions and uncover hidden truths. Instead of just giving answers, Socrates, and Plato by extension, believed that the best way to understand something was by questioning it. This approach helps reveal the deeper layers of a topic and encourages people to think critically about their beliefs. Number 3. Are you questioning everything? If you make life choices that involve questioning authority, challenging societal norms, or reflecting critically on how things are supposed to be, Plato would likely support this. He believed that living an unexamined life, one where you never stop to question or think deeply about your actions, beliefs, or the world around you, is not worth living. For Plato, intellectual and moral growth happens when you're willing to confront uncomfortable truths. This means challenging your own biases, questioning what you've been told, and being open to changing your mind when you encounter new information. Plato would see this kind of open-mindedness as a sign of true growth, both intellectually and morally. Plato imagined an ideal society where everyone contributes to the greater good by using their unique skills and strengths. In his vision of a perfect world, each person plays a role that matches their abilities, whether they're a leader, a teacher, a worker, or any other kind of contributor. By doing this, the whole society works in harmony, with everyone doing their part to make the community function smoothly. Number 4. Are you contributing to the common good? If your life choices involve helping others, contributing to your community, or working toward making the world a better place, Plato would likely approve of this. He believed that personal success wasn't just about individual achievement, it was closely tied to the well-being of the community as a whole. Your individual success and happiness, according to Plato, are deeply connected to the well-being of those around you. At the core of Plato's philosophy is the concept of the good, which represents the highest purpose of life. For Plato, the good is like a moral compass that guides us toward living virtuously and meaningfully. He believed that our lives should be dedicated to pursuing truth, wisdom, and justice. Number 5. Are you pursuing the good life? If you're making life choices that prioritize long-term happiness and are in line with your personal values, rather than chasing after temporary pleasures or superficial gains, Plato would likely support you. He would encourage you to focus on what nurtures your soul and helps you grow as a person, rather than getting distracted by fleeting desires like instant gratification or material wealth. Plato's idea of the good suggests that true happiness comes from aligning your actions with higher, lasting values. He believed that focusing on these deeper, more virtuous aspects of life brings real fulfillment. For Plato, life wasn't just about existing, it was about reaching the highest potential of the soul. Plato believed that achieving this involved developing virtues like courage, temperance, self-control, wisdom, and justice. Number 6. Are you fulfilling your potential? If your life choices reflect an ongoing effort to grow, learn, and improve yourself, Plato would see this as a form of self-actualization. This is the process of becoming the best version of yourself, living a life of eudaimonia, which translates to flourishing or living well. Plato believed that true happiness comes from developing your full potential, not settling for mediocrity or being content with the current state of things. Plato would encourage you to always strive for greatness in every aspect of your life, whether it's your relationships, career, or personal growth. Instead of just going through the motions of life, he believed you should aim to become the best version of yourself, constantly improving and striving for excellence. By doing so, you achieve eudaimonia, or a flourishing life, one where your soul is aligned with its highest purpose and potential. Integrity and consistency between your actions and beliefs were central to Plato's philosophy. He believed that the highest form of virtue is acting in harmony with your true self, guided by reason, rather than being influenced by external pressures, false beliefs, or passing desires. Number 7. Are you living with integrity? If your decisions are guided by a strong sense of integrity, where your actions consistently match your ethical values, Plato would view this as the foundation of a well-lived life. He believed that being honest, true to yourself, and consistent in your values is essential for moral and spiritual fulfillment. In contrast, dishonesty, hypocrisy, or compromising your principles would be seen as major moral failings. When your actions align with your true values, guided by reason and integrity, you're living in the most harmonious and fulfilling way. For Plato, any deviation from this, such as pretending to be something you're not or acting against your moral beliefs, would be a serious flaw in your character. For example, people who watch to the end but don't subscribe.